You're listening to the ASOTU CON Sessions by Effectv, recorded live in Philly. All right, here we are again with another ASOTU CON Sessions by Effectv. I get to hang out with my friend Andrew Diffenderfer today, which I got the luck of the draw. They assigned them, and I was like, yes. So thanks for spending a few minutes with me.
My pleasure, man. This is great to be at. I'm having a blast here. I got to give you credit, man. This is, somebody was asking me today. They said, "How do you know Paul?" I said, it's interesting. I remember when Paul was walking around at NADA blogging.
Yeah,
and just like literally like,
that guy.
Like getting industry like events, and I think I was either at Google or I was still like working at the agency.
Yeah, it was Google,
and we bumped into each other, and then I left Google and started a company before a pandemic, and you were like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing." I'm like, "I'm in, please."
Yeah, right. Let's do it. I mean, there is this element of like one thing leading to the next, and I think that any successful company can if they just put a little thought in it, can typically say, oh yeah, that led to that led to that, that's why we're here today. So here we both are today, right? And this is the culmination of, just going out there and doing things in the automotive industry, trying to get people together to talk about the pertinent issues that, not even that I see, right? Like I see that there are issues, but it is more to get the folks like yourself and the savvy dealers to start talking about, solving the issues that they're seeing in real time together. I put all that out there to say, what are some of the real time issues that you're seeing? Maybe even some that you kind of like maybe thought of while you were here, or something that the essence of the conversations that you're hearing that are real time.
Yeah, I think I've been trying to bounce around a lot. I think sometimes when you take a topic, you look at it, you're like, I want to go to this session to learn that.
Yes.
And I said to this one, I'm like, I'm not going to pick. I'm like going to walk. I'm going to go and like step in because I'm really
like
enjoying it. Yeah, like
that's amazing.
I was just in a session with Scott and CMA, and I listened to Liza this morning. Obviously, came over to the session that you did regarding OEMs.
Yep.
And it's kind of funny. We all do the all things used cars together on Fridays, which I love.
Tomorrow, I'm excited. In person tomorrow morning.
And last week, the theme that came out was kind of this collaboration versus competition. And I think the unifying theme that I'm hearing across a lot of the conversations is like, let's stop pointing the finger. Like, let's enhance consumer experience. Like, I'm tired of the word digital retailing, or I'm like that got to be such a buzzword, and it's like we
lost its meaning.
We reverted back, in my opinion, and we had things moving in the right direction. But
what do you mean we reverted back?
I think everyone was really like enhancing, like really thinking about their user experience. I mean, if you look at technology companies, which we do a lot, UX is a big part of what they do. How does it feel? What does it look like? What's the integration with the platform? And that came front and center. And I think you said it well in one of the roundtables. You were like, it's really important to be able to evolve and take notes from where things, success leaves clues, right? Success leaves tons of clues. And we were talking about Carvana, and I think you said that, man, the photo game stepped up big time. Right,
and then a lot of technology sprung forth, right? We have a robot, 100%. A car scanning robot here today at ASOTU CON that literally came out of people beginning to say, like, hey, we need photos like that because it's great for the consumer.
And today I saw an article that said searches for selling my car are up 255% coming into September. And I'm literally like, I'm on dealer websites every day of my life, and I'm seeing photography and pictures not be at the level that I would expect when people are looking to buy and sell cars.
Right, you'd expect like more strategic merchandising, right, where you can see it, and you're seeing the opposite, is what you're saying.
And I mean, I'm like, this is interesting. We have more technology available than we've ever had, and transparency has to lead the way with a lot of this. And we're kind of in a sense, we're like, well, we don't really need to photograph it that well because it's already sold.
Yes.
And to quote Brian, which he's been here having a great time.
Oh yeah.
Is, the best time to fix the roof is when the sun shines. So let's get really good at photos. Let's get really good at what we need to do now, and imagine that impact, that incremental impact that's going to have in the business when things change.
Well, he said, it's funny. I don't know if it was him or maybe it was Patrick Abad. I don't know, but basically said, I hear my fellow dealers out there, back when things were tight, they were saying, I can't make the investment. I don't want to do it now because I'm not profitable. And now they're saying, well, I don't do it right now because I'm profitable.
Right.
Right? It's like, that leaves no time to do it.
It was talking about, he was talking about the coffee. He's like, well, we got the cheap coffee.
He's like, He's like, well, I can't do it now because I'm not profitable. And then we were like, well, why would I do it now? I'm profitable.
I'm not cutting into that.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think it's going to be interesting, and I loved having Tom Dole here. Obviously, I worked at Subaru for 2 years. I like the brand is near and dear to my heart.
It's a darling brand, isn't it?
And you know, I mean, I'm going up to Michigan to watch him race and compete in the rally races and stuff. I still love it, but I loved his point about retailers, right?
Yeah.
Like let's think of ourselves as a retailer. You imagine if it was, and we compare ourselves to Apple. If the Apple dealership. Like be like, I'm not what?
Yeah.
But that retailer thing really resonated with me, and I think the points that, as I said, these continuous themes of collaboration. I forget what room it was, but somebody said let's have OEMs here next year, and I would say, like let's actually have OEMs, let's have some big tech, and let's have dealerships. And
man, now you're talking.
Like let's really get everyone on the room, and I want to hear why an OEM has a problem with potentially what some of the bigger technology companies are doing, because it's a very interesting, and I want to understand how the retailers play into that, because at the end of the day, they are the last leg of the transaction, right? You know, it's the Amazon driver that drops off your package is the last person.
Yeah, but it's
there.
even more complex than that. Like Steve Greenfield said it. I can't remember. It was just the other day. He said it in an interview. He said, "But automotive is such a rare industry where." In most retail consideration, as you go down the funnel, you get more and more specific. Automotive is the only one that as you get close to the end, consideration widens again. Right? So when you talk about a need for a dealer who can actually help somebody through that, because you would think it'd be like, okay, I get exactly what I want. But actually the opposite happens.
That's a good point. And Steve is brilliant. And the data points that he brings out, I mean, he's done this for years. It's just like a joy to listen to him kind of say, here's what I'm seeing, here's what's going on.
But it's so good.
But it is interesting, right? And again, another one of the room said, the biggest thing, you know, you and I buying a car, we're like, dude, we've been in this industry for 25 years doing this. Like, I'll swap. Like, if my car, I'll trade it.
Okay,
I'll switch out.
I don't need to drive it.
Right. It's cool. It needs tires anyway.
Yeah,
you know?
right. Exactly. So
like,
true. It's pulsing. It's like, well, does this mean the car's broken? It probably needs brakes. It's at this age. Exactly.
And I don't like the way that the console works out.
Yeah, right, right.
But for 97% of the rest of the world, average age of a vehicle is 12 years on the road today. And then you look at the time. I sold cars for 7 years. And
where did you sell cars?
In Pennsylvania. I grew up in Pennsylvania.
I can hear the accent.
Hour south of Harrisburg in Greencastle. Yep. So I know the Sioka family. Like we used to dealer trade. I worked at a Honda dealership, Antrim Way Honda.
Oh, no way.
And we would dealer trade cars with them.
You don't tell that story enough.
I know, man. I started washing cars when I was 14.
See, now this is the problem.
Yeah.
This is the problem. Because people are going to see you as a tech guy and as an industry partner. I worked for an OEM, but like, I started washing cars. I sold cars. We dealer traded with some that's a great story.
Yeah,
I didn't know that about you.
Well, I joke. I was a hydro technician, so I washed cars when I was 14. that was the saying. But no, I've always loved, and still to this day, I mean, I just love the industry, and I'm a gearhead, right? And the most satisfying days that I had selling vehicles was when somebody came in. And to your point, they're like, I want that, I don't want to date myself, that Honda Accord, that black Honda Accord. I won't say what year.
My first car was a Honda Accord.
And you're like, you know what, that's a really nice car, but you knew that they actually probably would have been better suited for something that was either a higher or lower trim package. Right. And you consulted them on that purchase decision. And it was, when the customer came in and said, here's what I want, oftentimes what happened was you never lined up because you didn't do your job to actually understand what their needs of the vehicle were. Right,
like they could easily say, you might be able to like, hey, I think a Civic would really be a good fit. Oh, they only have 2 doors. No, actually, there are Civics with 4 doors. Oh, really?
Right, and by the way, I can get you in something with leather and heated seats.
If you take a Civic,
it'll cost you $6,000 less. So I just literally freed up almost $100 a month for you, $120 a month.
You think there's trust built there?
And to Steve's point, people flip the bottom of the phone because we live in the society. We're on our phones. We see the thing. The website's skewed to what we may want to look at. We do a competitive comparison, and you begin looking at the data. I mean, it used to be, and the stat that we always used to say all the time is the average customer considers 5 to 7 brands of vehicle, and they visit 1.2 dealerships. Don't ask me where the 0.2 came from. So let's just call it 1.
It's like 1.5 kids, right?
And prior to kind of the digital age, it was you considered 1 brand and visited 7 dealerships.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that either.
Think about the paradigm shift.
Wow.
Right? So like when my dad was going to buy the Chevy S10 pickup.
Right, you're going to the Chevy stores.
We are going.
Which ones do you have? Which ones do you have?
We get on 81 and start south and work our way up and just,
take them off, right?
And then you're like, well, we might have to head back to Hagerstown tomorrow. You know,
yeah.
Like,
right.
How long
it's a weekend project now.
Like, how long are we doing this? And now somebody comes in, they say, I want stock number 2057B because that's the white Jetta with the tan
I already did my
interior.
research. I watched the YouTube video. I read the thing.
But what's the value if somebody says, you know what, like a lot of people come in and want that car, here's the other thing. So
Massive.
I think you see that, and that's where the retailer, like, in my opinion, we keep talking about electrification, and I keep going, what are dealerships doing to prepare for it? Have you hired someone that works for Tesla? Have you had a technician come in and to understand the impact on low-profile tires on a car that weighs 6,000 pounds, and everyone's just super excited to do acceleration and see how fast they can go?
It is pretty fun, though.
It eats up tires, which is a great problem for us, right?
For people who sell tires, right?
David Long was saying he had the Volkswagen, what's the
ID4?
The ID4.
Yeah.
And he said it was 7,000 miles and the car needed tires.
No
He's like,
way.
because
That's a cool car.
It's a great car. And he was like, because they were just doing so many accelerations with it.
That's fun.
And low profile tires driving through New York.
Heavy
Philly, car.
Right.
You're gonna have components. I mean, I'm excited about the future of where all this is going, but I think we as retailers, it's they're making me get a charger, they're making me do this, I gotta do this to my shop. I have a dealer partner that we work with in DC, and they sell 35 used Teslas a month. And the customers love it.
And you know what happens when you sell a used Tesla? You learn about it.
100%.
Right? Just get one. Just get a used Tesla. And guess what? Just having it, your people are going to swarm it, right? You're going to turn it on. You're going to take it for drives. Your technicians are going to look at it. And guess what? You get a little bit smarter.
And don't we have to, our future is that a GMC dealership may have to trade in an F-150 Lightning.
No doubt.
So what are we going to do? Call the Ford store. I mean, maybe you have one in your group. Call the Ford store so we can. I mean, there's going to be an interesting pivot here that we have to get used to. I'm like, embrace it now. Like you said, you have the profits. You can figure these things out. You can build future customers. And, the other thing is that I love about like what Tesla's done. They have guaranteed trade value. Well, if I owned a dealership, I'd be like, guess what? Those things are worth all the money. I'll pay you more than Tesla's paying for the car to come to my store.
Wow. Well, Andrew, always so much fun to kind of just pick your brain and kind of like volley it back and forth a little bit. Thank you so much for supporting ASOTU Con and spending some time with us on ASOTU Con Sessions by Effectv.
Make sure this happens next year.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be a good one.
You got it.